All right, you want to say it? All right.
Oh,
What's up, everybody?
Come on.
You do it.
I'm too excited. Listen, most percent about the Bible or vegan. Hugger Griffin, that come to do you better with someone you know.
Yay!
Hugger Griffin, that come.
Yay! Good job. Okay. Good job. Did the whole thing all by yourself. A plus. Good job, Drew. What's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to a Saturday edition of Morning Scone presented by Brian. Banners with Big Clinic, HUDCO Roofing, HUDCORoofing.com. Do business with someone you know, HUDCO Roofing, HUDCORoofing.com. It is game day, Saints Texans today from Houston. Fired up for it. You could tell Drew's so pumped that it's game day. He woke up early today, got up and got out of bed early. So here we are on this Saturday. Okay, game day, Saints Texans. What are we looking for? Kylan Jackson, safety out of Zachary, set to make his announcement today. It is expected that he will pick LSU, 4-star safety. So we're certainly... There we go. My Surface wasn't charged. I think we lost power yesterday while I was at work, and our standby generator from Chutes Electric powered on. Anyway, all right, y'all. Let's get into it. I am looking forward to the Saints game tonight, 7:00. I am actually very curious. I think it's great for Dennis Allen to get the game day reps. I mean, he hasn't been a head coach. I know he pinch hit on Sunday Night Football last year against the Bucs, and the Saints won that game. That was the 9-0 game. But I think game day routine for Dennis Allen, being a head coach again, it matters. I am also definitely interested in seeing Andy Dalton. The Saints have had to rely on their backup quarterback each of the last 3 years for... Good job. Erica's sleeping. Try to keep him out of there. Anyway, so Saints have had to rely on their backup quarterback each of the last 3 years to start games when the starter's been injured. So I want to see how Andy Dalton functions. His first time in this offense, first time working with Pete Carmichael. So there's a lot that they can work on. Certainly want to see Trevor Penning and Chris Olave. The draft picks always garner a lot of attention with good reason. As much as we've talked about Penning and sort of his nasty streak and being a physical, aggressive player, which is awesome and I love, like, can he block at this level? I mean, I want to go see it. So that certainly I'm excited to see Jarvis and Tyron in the Saints uniform. I don't know that they're going to play a bunch. If at all, but I doubt we see Michael Thomas or David Onyemata and Ryan Ramczyk and a whole bunch of the starters. There's no reason to run your starters out there and risk getting them injured in a preseason game. So, I don't know how much of that we see, but I am looking forward to today's game. I am. I'll be watching tonight. Definitely, if there was one player, if you want to talk about the undrafted guys, I'm most interested in seeing. It's Abram Smith, the running back out of Baylor. I think he has an awesome opportunity to make this team and be an impact guy. So I definitely want to see him go run the football and see how he does. So Abram Smith, Tony Jones, all those running backs. Let's see how they do. So, all right. We'll say some good mornings here. Charlie Cavell, Kirk Taylor, Marty Savoy or Savoy. I think you probably say Savoy. Kirk, first we could teach you the books. It was a great week. Good to hear that, Kirk. That's awesome, man. Richie Burt, Richard Kahn, what's up? Drew's a better co-host than T-Bob, confirmed, no doubt. I want to see what the offense looks like without Peyton calling the plays. You know what, Kirk? I got to remind you, man. 3 times we saw Pete Carmichael as the primary play caller. Drake London left the game with a knee injury. Hi, Drew. So Drake London, the number 1 pick of the Falcons, number 8 overall, the first round pick of the Falcons, left the game last night with a knee injury. Falcons are poop. Anyway. So forgot what I was saying. Okay. Oh yeah, Carmichael. Pete Carmichael. Pete Carmichael called plays 3 times as the primary play caller for a season for the Saints, and all 3 times Saints were I think 2nd, 3rd, and 6th in total offense the 3 years he called plays. So, Anthony Skinner, good morning. Deborah Coward, good morning. Arthur Coco, good morning. People laughed at T-Bob, but Danny Etling is still in the league. I think you missed the point. I think you missed the point entirely with the Danny Etling conversation. Never mind. We really do not need to unearth a 5-year-old conversation about Danny Etling. Please no. Charlie Cavett. Oh, I already did that one. Sorry. It went back to the top. Kerry Hughes, good morning. Hard to believe we're only 3 weekends away from football, the beginning of the Brian Kelly era. Let's go. Yes, indeed. Not only that, but you got week 0 just in a couple of weeks. So we are closer. Bubba Tatum, Chase Pellegrin, Samuel Merrifield. Where do you think the Saints fall in the South this season? Also, did you hear more noise about Kamara's suspension in 2023? Samuel, the only thing I saw is that one report from that one guy who nobody's ever heard of, who said, cited sources that it would be in 2023. So I have no idea if that guy has any legitimate information. And the fact that legitimate news people around the NFL and the Saints have not broken that makes me very skeptical of its legitimacy. For those that don't know, there was some guy who nobody's ever heard of who reported, citing sources, that Kamara's suspension was likely to come in 2023 and not 2022. Brian Greer, Irfan Sayad, Shane O'Mac, good morning. Saints football is here. Who dat? Yes, sir. Who dat? Who dat say they gonna beat them Saints? Say who dat? Good job, Drew. Who dat? Who dat? What does Daddy say? Hey, what do we say when the Saints are playing? What do we say when the Saints are playing? Who dat? Good job. Shane Carver, what players are you most excited to see play today? The 2 first-round picks, Penning Olave and Abram Smith. I would love to tell you that I would have said also DeMarco Jackson, but he's on IR, so it's the linebacker they drafted out of Appalachian State. I'm worried about this team at linebacker. I think they got to add somebody at linebacker. So how that happens, we'll see. I think when the league starts going through its cuts and there are good players on that are available, I think the Saints will try to add there, unless if they can make a trade. Remember, they did that last year, Bradley Roby. People forget this, man, where this team was at this point last year. Remember, we were all thinking Lattimore was going to be suspended. You lost Jack Rabbit, Janoris Jenkins as a cap casualty. So we're sitting here thinking, man, P-Rob and Ken Crowley are going to be your day one starters. And then P-Rob up and retired. So we're like, is it going to be Ken Crowley and the rookie Paulson Adebo, who, remember, opted out of the 2020 season? So we're like, who hadn't played in 2 years? Well, we know how it worked out. Lattimore ends up not being suspended, but they traded for Bradley Roby, and Adebo ended up having a great year. But they were in a similar spot at corner a year ago as they are right now with linebacker. So I think they will make a move. Weston Weaver, good morning. Edward Olave with a touchdown, Penny with a penalty today. Spurge, good morning. Nice job, Drew. Enjoyed the debunk of the Daniels in the echo chamber yesterday. Thanks, Spurge. Yeah, so, and by the way, some of you probably have seen the short clip that I posted, the 15-second clip, which basically says, "Hey, Sylvia foul." Some of you have was this Sylvia's last game? Some of you have probably seen. Sorry, they're showing like that was a big deal. It must have been Sylvia Fowles' last game or something like that. Or maybe last home game. I don't know. Go off, Big Sil. Hell yeah. Sorry, I got distracted watching that. Yeah, so some of you probably just seen the short clip of me saying, Jaden Daniels completed 65% of his passes last year. That led the Pac-12. The idea that he's just an athlete who can't throw is false. So I would recommend, if you have a chance, go to my After Further Review LSU YouTube channel, and or the I believe it was maybe the second segment of AFR yesterday. I talked about Daniels, and I kind of went a deep dive. So like I went and looked up a bunch of scouting reports, like what NFL draft scouts have said about Jaden Daniels. Went and watched a bunch, like looked at a bunch of his highlight films. I asked a bunch of people that knew him and watched him play, namely Ryan Clark as well. His son Jordan played at Arizona State. He's watched every game Jaden Daniels has played. So, and like the consensus is he can be inconsistent, but he's not inaccurate. And when he's right, it's special. Like there's one scout that had him rated, who said he's comparable to Trey Lance. There was one that had him in this past draft, the sixth best quarterback available in this past draft. I mean, point is, like, there was one scout that had him as a second round pick, one had him as a fourth round pick. So my point is, like, there's this notion that he's just an athlete that can't throw, and I think there's been this echo chamber on the internet of people who have just accepted that to be a fact, and they've never actually seen him play, watched anything, and it just didn't map to what I've seen the guy do before. And so I'm not, again, I want to reiterate this. I'll be very, very clear because I know what y'all are going to say. Because people are saying, why do you keep like just pumping up? I'm not pumping up Jaden Daniels. What I'm pushing back against the notion that the guy can't throw the football. And I'm not saying he's going to win the starting job. I'm not telling you he's a Heisman candidate. I'm just telling you, for those who are just accepting as fact this notion that the guy can't throw, you're wrong. Like, you're just wrong. Edward O said, I've seen some wobbly passes in practice. I can go pull out video of all the quarterbacks from Thursday when we were there, and I can show you wobbly passes from all of them. The ball that everyone's looking at that Malik Neighbors caught in the corner of the end zone, that was a Miles Brennan pass that was a duck doing this. So can Miles Brennan not throw? Come on, man. Like, let's get real here. Hunter Fournette, what channel is the preseason game on? It's on WAFB. Also, side note, Kyle Jackson brings the boom. Your fave five head. Good morning from California. My 4-year-old woke up early just for the Hudco song. Okay, well, you know what? If your 4-year-old is up for the Hudco song, here you go.
Need a roof, call someone you know. All you need is Hudco. Call Hudco Roofing. 364-1007.
Who am I to disappoint the kids? Peter Fenner, Trivia Carter, good morning. D, good morning. Irfan Sayad, how long does the Red Rocket play? Oh, is that Andy Dalton? Drew's trying to sing the jingle. So I think we probably see Dalton maybe for the first quarter, maybe a couple series, then Book plays the majority of the game, and we'll see if Costello gets in to play the fourth quarter, the end. Let's see, Shelby Kelly, 30th birthday today. Ready to see what the depth looks like for the Saints. All right, Shelby, happy birthday, man. Drew, do you want to come sing happy birthday to Shelby? You want to come sing happy birthday to Shelby?
Yeah.
Okay, come on. Let's sing happy birthday to Shelby. Come on.
Yeah.
Ready? Are we sing happy birthday to Shelby? Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Shelby. Happy birthday to you.
Yay! Yay!
Oh.
Okay, good job. Good job.
Wanna go walk?
You go walk? Okay. Let's see. Ronnie Duga, good morning. Reagan Lee, watch practice film release from LSU Gold. Daniels looks impressive. I like his chances to win the job. Jason Austin, good morning. Jason Tarver, Lawrence Burley, good morning. Craig Duga, Matt, did you see Big Game Bob's wife at ULL go on a drunken shade, throwing a fit on Twitter against former assistant coach? Great entertainment, so classy. No, is that Bob Marlin's wife? I don't know. Bob Stoops' wife? Daniel Sinence, James Penn, Brian Penn, threw me off there, Brian. Good morning. Eric Trosclair, Craig Duga. I'll never forget Will Wade going off. Yeah, it's Bob Marlin. Yes. It was Big Sill's last WNBA game. Okay. Jason Austin, Matt, after being able to watch LSU's practices and scrimmage in person, has anything stood out enough to make you change your stance on 9-3 season? Jason, I'm not picking them 9-3. I'm picking them 8-4. I think they're 8-4. I think the ceiling is 9-3 for this team, and the floor, I have them at 7-5 is the floor. So I'm just going to split the difference and say they go or 7-5. So I'm splitting the difference, saying they go 8-4. I'm not picking them 9-3. I'm picking them 8-4. And no, nothing's changed. I think I am bullish on their defense. I think they're going to be really good on defense. Let me rephrase. I think they're going to be good enough on defense. I think they have good receiving talent, which we knew. I think they are unsettled at quarterback and on the offensive line. So, and then the other part of it too is in the secondary. You know, we can look and say we're excited about some of those guys and how they're playing, but you know, if you're repping guys from Nichols and McNeese and ULL or whatever the case may be, how excited really should we be? You know what I mean? I feel like we saw that story with Darren Evans one year where we got excited. Here's this long guy who went to Nichols and became a really good player there. I mean, like first day here, he was just, he was playing at quicksand. So we'll see. Eric Duvall, Chris Proctor, good morning. I think the Saints secondary could be the best we've had in a while. O-line has some questions. Does Trevor Penning win the starting spot? I think James Hurst is going to start the opener. I think as the season goes along, we could see Penning win that left tackle job. And I could get down with the Saints secondary being the best they've had in a while. I mean, they were great. I mean, look, they've been one of the best when you had Lattimore and Jackrabbit. And I mean, last year, they were really good too. Ryan Dixon, when is Brian Kelly going to name the starter? You know what, Brian? I'll be curious to see if he names it publicly. And I'll look at precedent. He went through something similar a year ago. They replaced Ian Book, and they brought in Jack Cohn, who was the transfer from Wisconsin, who ultimately won the job. And I went and looked it up. They named Jack Cohn the starter publicly on August the 14th. So it was basically the second week of fall camp. So I would imagine by this time next week, you'll be 2 weeks out from the Florida State game. I think by this time next week, they'll have their starter. And you kind of have to, because even if you don't name them publicly, you got to have your starter because you need to start getting ready for that game. You can't still be, I mean, especially with the new quarterback center exchange, new offensive line, new offensive coordinator, you know what I mean? Like new terminology. you got to start repping for the game. So you can't wait until like the day before the game to name a starter. I mean, you got to have that and start rolling. Richie Burt, they've already said Daniels will win the starting job. There's a reason they brought him here. I've said that's my opinion on it, Richie. Listen to me. Listen to me, okay? Listen to me very closely. I am not telling you I know anything, okay? But everyone asks, who do you think is going to win the starting job? My opinion is that just like anybody can have an opinion based on whatever evidence you have. My opinion is, yes, they didn't need to bring Jaden Daniels here. They did. I think he has a skill set that these two coaches, Kelly and Denbrock, want in their quarterback. And he's also by a mile the most experienced, which is why I've said I think he wins the job. I've also said, I'm saying that with extremely low confidence, and I'm not telling you I think he'll be good, will keep the job, will be great, any of that stuff. I have no idea, literally no idea how this will all play out. We're all going to watch it and see together. But in my industry, you don't get to sit on the fence. You have to give opinions. And I'm good with that. I'm giving you an opinion. My opinion is, with very little confidence, that I think they brought Jaden Daniels here for a reason. I think he's going to get the first shot. I've also said I think they're all going to play. So we'll see. I'm not telling you definitively he's winning the starting job. I'm not telling you he's going to be a Heisman candidate. I'm just telling you, if you made me pick today, who do you think wins it? I would tell you Jaden Daniels. And maybe I'll be wrong. Amy Burley, thanks to Dr. Stephen Etheridge with Brock for seeing me yesterday for my knee injury. Great man, wonderful staff. Yeah, man, Dr. Etheridge is a former kicker at Florida State. He's been on the LSU staff now for a long time, the medical staff out at LSU for a long time. So if you walk into Brock, you'll see his Florida State jerseys framed in the hallway. But he's a big LSU guy now. So actually, that's going to be interesting. I got to talk to Etheridge. Man, I got to talk to Etheridge. I didn't even think about that. Oh, man, I got to get him on game week. That's my jam. Hutko on repeat. Trivia, have to suck it up. Craig Duga, can Drew give us an around the SEC update? Absolutely. Hey, Drew. Drew, come see. Eric Duvall, Matt, looking at LSU's football schedule, I think the Tigers could start 4-0. What do you think? Eric, I think they have to. That means you'd have to beat Florida State, New Orleans, and Mississippi State at home. You do that, you start 4-0. And Eric, for them to have the type of season I think they can have and what many fans want them to do even better, they have to start 4-0. You start 4-0, and then we'll see how you do. That next 4 is pretty pivotal because the next 4, you have road games against Auburn, Florida, and home games against Tennessee and Ole Miss. So how do you do in those 4 really is going to determine what you're playing for in November if you assume L to Alabama. Hey, come see. Hey, they want to do around the SEC. Come see. Come here. Come here. What do we do around the SEC? Come here. Around the SEC. Presented by Gulf Coast Office Products. The Alabama. The Arkansas. The Auburn. The Florida. The Georgia. The Kentucky. The LSU, the Mississippi State, the Ole Miss, the Missouri, the South Carolina, the Tennessee, the Texas A&M, the Maggies, and the Vanderbilt. Yay! Good job! He didn't do it with much confidence. He kind of whispered him, but he got him. Let's see. In Drew's defense, it's a catchy tune. Shout out to Brock. Y'all, as always, Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic and Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. You need an orthopedist, go to Brock. Need a roof, call Hudco. By the way, y'all, I'm sure, whatever business you're in, I'm sure it's similar, but there's a seasonality to every business where you can tell it's certain, like when you get around the holidays, sometimes things just slow down. Or like if you're a CPA and then tax season comes, you boom. If you run a lawn service company, the spring and summer months are probably way busier than the winter months. I think everybody understands that. But so in roofing, like in July, it gets pretty quiet because everybody's on vacation. You're on vacation, you're outside, you're doing so like you're at ball games, you're not really thinking. But then once you get back from vacation and people settle in and kids go back to school and you're back at home again and you're back in your routine of life, is when people start to pay attention to things again, like, oh, I have a water spot on my roof, or oh, I'm missing a shingle. This week, I mean, obviously first week of school, our phones and online submissions were bonkers this week. So here's my point. If you've been thinking about it but putting off a roof inspection, please, 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 like right now, I'm giving you permission to leave this show right now. Click the link that I have pinned. It's the HUDCO website. On the home page is the contact form. It's literally all you have to do is like name, phone number, address, email, and issue, whatever. And then we'll be in contact with you to schedule. But do that because it gets you immediately populated in our system and in line. And because, man, you just don't want to get stuck in the log jam. So anyway, that's my my brief pitch. Okay. Home native Tay Martin made his NFL debut last night for the 49ers. That's awesome. Joey B19 got drunk last night and watched Jaden Daniels highlights from ASU. I'm so Joey Metke, what's up? Like seriously, if you're interested, go to YouTube and type in Jaden Daniels highlights and watch some of his highlights from Arizona State. You will be impressed. Like the way I remember having this conversation with RC, with Ryan Clark, and the way he described Jaden Daniels was this. He said he's not inaccurate, he's inconsistent, but when it's good, it's Heisman-like. That's how Ryan Clark described it. When it's good. Now, if the good can exist all the time, that would be awesome. But it hasn't, and that's the problem. Hunter Fournette, Nuss Bus, enough said. Let's see. Greg T, got a buddy and fellow morning Sconer coming to the house tonight for the Saints game and to help him buy his first game coin. All right, Greg T, I love to hear it. Man, I saw, again, not in any way financial advice or whatever, but I saw someone made like a pretty big sale of their game coin, and I was like, oh, God, I felt so bad. I mean, you never know. Like, everybody do you in life, but I mean, we are on the doorstep of launch, and if you have been this patient, I can't imagine. It's like if you're running a marathon and your marathon's 26.2, you run the 26 and then you stop before the 0.2. Like you're right there. Just finish the 0.2, and then enjoy the party. Roquan Smith, what would the Bears want for him? Good question, Travis Young. I don't know, but the comp that I gave was when the Bears traded for Khalil Mack. They gave up 2 1s, I think a 3 and a 6, and they got a 2 and maybe another late round pick along with Khalil Mack. You'd have to give up multiple 1s most likely, or at least a 1 and a 2. Cliff Nelson, morning Scone, Team Drew. Telly Rock, those of us who have been on her side all this time, were a little upset when she was falling for a couple of compliments last week from some new commentators. She loves her OGs, Cliff. No worries, man. It's Urban Sombrero who followed you up. Hi, Drew.
Not for backpack.
After your backpack, we will get dressed and we'll go to Daddy's work and ride the elevator. Very good.
Everything.
And after Daddy's work, come to Drew's house and wear your backpack again. And then later, who's coming to Drew's house? Mimi. Papa. JJ.
Uncle Jeff.
Uncle Jeff.
Uncle Jeff.
Uncle Jeff.
Come on.
Okay.
I see.
Urban Sombrero, Wendell Norman, Gulf South morning. Both Edo and DA were hired at LSU and the Saints with trash coaching records. But you've seen 100 times more confidence in Dennis Allen you ever had with O, wondering what Dennis Allen has done to feel that way. So Gulf South. First of all, we're talking about two very, like you're talking about apples and oranges. You're talking about NFL and college football. It's very different in college football where your roster turns over every 4 years. You have to manage rosters. In the NFL, you very obviously have the draft, you have free agency, you can build up a roster that way. And I think Dennis Allen is inheriting a very talented roster. If anything, I'm telling you, the reason that I am somewhat hesitant about the Saints this year is because of the absence of Sean Payton. And I know you watch a lot, but the example I've given is we saw this once before. It was in 2012, the Bounty Gate year. And in the Bounty Gate year, they thought they had everything in place. You had great player leadership. You had Breeze. You had Cam Jordan. You had great leadership on that team in 2012. And we saw what happened. They Sean Payton's "Do Your Job" poster and everything. Pete Carmichael calling plays. You had Cromer and then Vitt when Vitt came off of suspension, and they were 7-9. They had the worst defense in the history of the league. Now, I mean, Steve Spagnuolo was a first-year DC at that point, but no, I would tell you, like, that would be my one hesitancy. The reason that I'm more confident in the Saints this year is because I believe their roster is one of the best in the NFL. But comparing a college situation and a professional situation are apples and oranges because of how you build a roster, because of how you maintain a roster, because of everything they're in. I mean, you're dealing with college kids who are going to class, and you have to have living arrangements for them, and travel and food and all that sort of stuff. I mean, in the NFL, you're pros. You figure a lot of that stuff out yourself. Let's see. Tim Gautreau, good morning. Got here in time for the jingle. Urban Sombrero spending the weekend in Alabama. Smells terrible in this state. Wendell Norman, reading the tea leaves. Jaden Daniels is QB1. Well, look, with Nussmeier injured the other day, Daniels was taking the first team reps. And there have been some whispers that in team periods when the media hasn't been there that Daniels was taking the lion's share first team reps. So that might just be one day. I mean, they had 2 weeks. It might be different every other day when we're not there. It's like, here's the other thing why I think, one of the things I said, I don't know if y'all caught this, but when we got to watch the full practice on Thursday, I said it was interesting to watch a full practice and to be taking notes the whole time. And so I had the impression of what I saw, what I thought I was watching. And then we immediately, like from practice, walk right into the team room, and Brian Kelly comes in, 5 minutes later and does a practice recap and Q&A and all that sort of stuff. And so it was interesting that I had just watched this 2-hour practice, had my notes, my observations, and then here comes Brian Kelly with his. So like one of the observations was, man, Kyron Lacy looked awesome. And so someone asked him about Kyron Lacy, and Brian Kelly's response was, look, we can't teach, or we can't be confident for him. And so basically what he was saying was, look, it comes and goes with Kyron Lacy with confidence. He looked awesome the day we got to see, but the next day he might not have been. We looked at a team period where LSU was running 2 tight end sets. So we've been sitting here all along thinking, man, we really don't have tight ends. But I saw Nick Storrs play a ton with the ones. It was Nick Storrs, Cole Taylor. They're throwing the ball to those guys. And I'm thinking, man, I guess Storrs is going to play a ton this year. And they're running 2 tight end sets. Well, we go into the press conference with Kelly. I'm getting to a point, by the way. So we go into the press conference with Kelly, and he says, we were working a lot on third down and team drills. Well, that makes a lot of sense. If you're working on third downs and you have a third and short, that could be why you have a 2 tight end set. Well, that's why they were running the 2 tight end set, because they were practicing third down drills, which we didn't know when we were watching it, right? So I guess that's my point, is like you make observations based on the sort of limited stuff you get to see. So your point about Jaden Daniels being QB1, like that's what we got to see, but the day before it could have been Miles Brennan taking all the first team reps. Today it could be Nussmeier taking all the first team reps. You know what I mean? Like we just don't know what we don't get to see. So Alex, your thought on Mason Taylor? Yeah, I mean Brian Kelly gushed about Mason Taylor, but quite honestly, we just didn't get to see him much. He was running with the twos. I mean, the first tight ends when they were in 2 tight end sets were Cole Taylor and Nick Storrs. And then when the twos ran out there, it was Mason Taylor and Jack Mashburn. We just didn't get to see him much, but Brian Kelly gushed over him. Well, let's see. Shawshank QB because he's red and Andy. Got it. Spurs, that Hudco rendition, Toby should be nervous. I need to call Toby. Mr. Toby Tom Play. Y'all are so encouraging, Drew. I love it. I appreciate it very much. Oh gosh, I have to catch up. No Saint, my 2-month depression is almost over. Can't wait for the season to start. Wendell Norman, look of love on your face is priceless. Great job, Drew. Thanks, man. Dude, it's the best job in the world. Everybody knows that, right? I mean, if you got a kid, just there's nothing better, man. Cameron, morning. I would like to officially book Drew for my next birthday. Hey, man, if you're here on your birthday, let us know. Drew loves to sing happy birthday. Like he loves to sing it. So if anyone's got a birthday, Drew will sing it. Huh. Here he comes.
No.
You're just talking about him.
Backpack.
After backpack, we're going to go to Daddy's work.
No,
After Daddy's work, we'll go to Drew's house.
Who?
Okay. Brad David, it's weird so many posts online about Daniels and accuracy. That's why I addressed it. Because I get asked about it all the time. Good morning, headed to the railroad. Big commit come today. Sounds that way. Colin Jackson from Zachary, the safety, looks like he's going to commit today. Kevin Williams, let's see, Jesse Brown, subscribe if you've not already. Yeah, thanks so much, man. I appreciate that. If you're on YouTube, 126 watching, that's awesome. If you've not done so yet, please hit the red subscribe button. Doesn't cost you anything. It just means our video will populate whenever we post them. And smash that like button if you haven't done so yet. If you're on mobile, just X out of the live chat. The video won't go anywhere. Just X out of the live chat. Hit the thumbs up. And then hit live chat again. The comments come right back. So I appreciate that. And Facebook, please like the Matt Scone page if you haven't done so yet. Rapid matches. Let's see. Your fave 5-head. I so badly wanted Drew to say, who cares when Vanderbilt came up. Jay Maggio, good morning. Don't suppose you can do the big sill drop from home. I will need to get, I could get Musa to send it to me, and then I could do it like I do the Hudco jingle. Rapid matches working this morning, getting that OT money. Go get it, man. Good for you. Cameron, I guess there's very little value in discussing next year when this year's starter isn't set, but is it a foregone conclusion Howard's the guy in the future? No, can't look. I mean, here's the deal. Jaden Daniels is going to be a one-year guy at LSU either way. And Brennan, this is it for him. So next year, I think is you have a legitimate battle next year with Nussmeier and Walker Howard. But Walker's impressive, man. Walker's really impressive. Ben Thompson, the Maggies, they'll forever be referenced as such. Yes. Every morning Sconer knows it. Drew has named them the Maggies. The Texas A&M. So when we say the Texas A&M Aggies, he's heard. I guess when we say the Texas A&M Aggies, he hears Maggies. The Texas A&M Maggies. So that's why they have been forever referred to here as the Maggies.
Maggie.
The Texas A&M.
Maggie.
The Maggies. Yes. Irfan Sayad. All right, Tim Gautreau. What's the over-under on the number of SC mascots E-Rock can name? That's a good question, Tim. I bet she could get them all. Now, if you go outside of the SEC, no shot. That would actually be really funny. Kevin Williams. Hudco needs to contract with the baseball team. Going to be a lot of broken shingles on the baseball facility this year. We have... Yeah, we will. We've already had plenty of conversations about baseball partnerships, and we have talked about doing an ad like that where Dylan Cruz is hitting the baseball and it's like hitting roofs and it's like, oh, better call Hudco, that sort of thing. So let's see. Gulf South. Some A&M bloggers have said to expect a lot of transfers next year due to fine print stipulations and NIL contracts. So Gulf South, what they're alluding to, and is actually why Harold Perkins decommitted and is now at LSU. The way that the way that those NIL deals are structured is, you get, well, and understand that it's like an offer sheet, right? It's paid out per semester, and it's like 6 weeks into the semester. So you can't get a payment at the beginning of the year and then leave after the season, go get another NIL deal. I do not know this, but I think that's what Harold Perkins was thinking. He was going to get $500,000 and then leave after 1 year and go get another NIL deal transfer. That's what I think he was in his mind when he decommitted from A&M, or when he picked A&M. Anyway, so I don't know that, but every interview Harold Perkins ever gave, he was always talking about how big of a deal NIL was to him. And when he decommitted from A&M, that's in my, again, I'm using deductive reasoning here, knowing how Jacoby Matthews' NIL deal was structured and assuming the same was true for all of them, right? So that's probably Gulf South, what they're alluding to. Brad David, are you pretty close with Hannegriff? I always like listening to him. Yeah, man. When I got hired, really, Gordy and Charles were the two that I primarily talked to. So I've known Hanny for a long time. Got a lot of respect for him, man. He does an awesome job. I think maybe the most complimentary thing I could say about Hanny, especially on air, is there's many things, but a couple of them. Number one, I think he's perfect on post game. It takes a special kind of broadcaster to be able to immediately when a game ends have your emotions in check and to be very measured in your commentary. Like that is, Whiskey and Wine is the antithesis of that. Like, we are exposed nerve endings. He's actually doing a professional broadcast, which is very hard to do, especially like when you haven't had an opportunity to go back and rewatch a game. You're doing it after one look, real time, taking notes as it happens, and immediately giving your take. Like, and then dealing with callers and everyone else who's being emotional. It's a very tough thing. That's number one. I'll tell you two with Hanny. He invariably will always say something on air when I'm listening to him talk, and I'll go, why didn't I think of that? Like, that's the point. Like, anyway, or the way he says something, and yes, like, I think Hanny's terrific. Jordan Haddad, hoping Tiger fans get behind Jaden Daniels. Good old boys, still want Brennan, but need to trust the coaches. We're fortunate transfer quarterbacks want to come here under brand new staff rebuild. Well, Jordan, to be clear, transfer quarterbacks have been coming to LSU. If you go back to, you can look at Etling, of course, Burrow. There was Mettenberger. There was a stretch there where LSU's best quarterbacks were transfers. Mettenberger, Etling started, then Burrow. We'll see if Daniels ends up being the guy. But so I guess transfer quarterbacks have always wanted to come here. But yes, I think LSU fans will get behind whoever the starter is because they want the team to win. But they have to succeed. So. Oh, did Zach Wilson tear his ACL? Hunter Fournette, Dennis Allen was handed a loaded howitzer and was told to demolish the NFC South. I hope so, man. Got to get Jameis to play well, man. Got to get Jameis to play it at what his potential is, Hey, babe. Don Clue at 504. LSU announced Brian Kelly have a radio show each week. Thoughts? Well, no, of course he has a radio show. Ed Ogeron had a radio show each week. That's the coach's show. It's just going to be on Thursdays this year, whereas forever it's been on Wednesdays. That's all it is. So it'll be the Brian Kelly, just like Ed Ogeron show or Les Miles show. And that's part of their contract. They do the weekly radio show during the season. I love hearing Kelly's breakdown of each individual player's issue. I really feel like the team can get better with coaching staff analysis. Good morning, Damon Gilmore, Jeremiah Hardell. Sorry if you already answered this. Who's going to start tonight, Book or Dalton? Dalton. Well, they haven't announced, but I'm assuming Dalton's going to start. Dwayne, official Matt, what honest thoughts about this team this season, offense and defense? I'm assuming you're talking to LSU. Yeah, I mean, I think defensive line is deep and talented. I think they have a nice rotation at linebacker. A lot of new guys in the secondary, but I think I'm a little more confident in the defense now than I was in the offseason. I'm terrified about the offensive line. I think they have some talented players there, but guys who've never played the positions they're in and need to come together. You got a true freshman at left tackle. I mean, I'm terrified about that, quite honestly. And you're unsettled at quarterback. You're not very deep at running back, although I like Emery and Kane a lot. But even those guys have a question. Is Emery ready to be a guy? Is Kane healthy? So, anyway, there's just so there's a lot of that. Just a lot of questions on the offensive side. Jeremiah Hardell, I think Kurt Merritt will go off versus the Texans. Yeah, kind of the evidence about this team, man. What's interesting is Kurt Merritt last year makes this team no doubt. But last year's starters at receiver are this year's backups. Marquez Callaway, Deontay Hardy, those guys are backups this year. Your number one draft pick is your third receiver. So I don't think Kurt Merritt's got a spot on this team, man. He'll get picked up somewhere, but he don't have a spot on the team, which speaks to the depth they have. Nyquillis, what's good, man? Jordan Point, Toby Matthews back in the portal at some point, book it. Maybe. Or he could go there and be a really good player and play 3 years and go to the pros. Ken Russell, when's the last time LSU had quarterback room this deep? I guess that's in the eye of the beholder there, Kevin. I mean, could you argue that they're actually deep? I mean, you've got Jaden Daniels, who started a lot of games, but fans don't seem to want him. You got Miles Brennan, who's started 3 games in his career and has never really played. And then you've got a true freshman in Walker Howard and a redshirt freshman in Garrett Nussmeier, who played 1 game extensively last year and wasn't good, objectively wasn't good against Arkansas. So, I mean, I like the talent, and I'm optimistic about them developing Nussmeier and Howard and then Ricky Collins coming in behind them. And I'm optimistic about all that, but we'll see, Vincent Morales, doesn't matter what you do, the Raiders rules all out. Do Raiders rules out? If anything, these NIL deals should be like actual contracts. You don't stay, you lose the money. The problem with that, Nyquillis, is that and that's something we've actually talked about on the NIL podcast I'm doing with Jonathan Pixon from Matchpoint, is that would they say that would violate antitrust laws if you did that. So that's why. But is there creative verbiage in contracts to allow for such? Probably. Which is why the whole NIL space is. I mean, it's everyone is. I mean, I hate to use the analogy, but they're building the bridge as they cross it. Devin Kelly, good morning. Rob Boudreaux. Oh, happy birthday, Patrick Queen. All right. Let's see. Tommy Poole, good morning. Hate to hear Brennan isn't QB1, but I want to win. I want the team to be its best version. Yeah, I mean, I've said that for months, y'all. I think fans are split into 2 groups. Half the fans want Miles Brennan to be the starter because they want him to get the storybook ending. Half the fans are excited about Garrett Nussmeier. And I think that's pretty much held. We did a poll this week, and I think it was 49% Brennan, 38% Nussmeier, 10% Daniels. I mean, it's pretty much how it's going to go. Hey, babe. Do you know all the SEC mascots?
Maybe. I can go wash my hair
You want to do it real quick? They were
I'm
asking.
gonna stop watering.
Okay. Justin Franks, you got to expound more on A&M NIL deals. Justin, I mean, if you go back and check out go check out AFR on signing day. I went into detail about Jacoby Matthews' NIL deal. Let's see, Gulf South. I think my biggest issue with Daniels is hearing him labeled as a dual threat. It brings back not so good memories of the dual threat quarterbacks Les brought in that weren't very good. I think, but can we agree though, in fairness? I mean, I understand the point, because with Les, the problem was they never threw the ball. Or when they did throw the ball, they would throw single route concepts where it was low percentage passes. And anyway, there's no reason to relive that. But yes, the problem though is you're talking about what Les Miles would do with offenses. I can look at more than a decade of evidence of Brian Kelly offenses in South Bend or Mike Denbrock with Desmond Ridder a year ago and see what they did with mobile quarterbacks. And it's not so much just, you're not running the triple option, but you're talking about a quarterback that can extend plays with his feet or if he calls his own number, that could be a dimension in the offense that is dynamic. Josh Langlois, good morning. Jesse Brown, see what happened to Wilson. Why do NFL teams risk their season playing QB1 early in preseason? I wouldn't play quarterback at all in preseason. Devin, yeah, y'all are all saying it's not the Miles app. Yep. Bro, Austin, would this be Jaden Daniels last year? So he has another year because of COVID. He did not redshirt, but everyone got the COVID year back, right? I remember talking to a lot of people at Arizona State whenever he came here, and Jaden Daniels, he's from California. He and his family were pretty adamant that he was going to be a 3-year player at Arizona State. His whole intention was always to be 3 years at Arizona State, then to the NFL. As a recruit, he was the number 35 overall prospect in the country. He was the number 2 quarterback and the number 3 player in California. He was a big-time prospect, and his whole perspective was always he was going to be 3 years then in the NFL. Well, went to Arizona State, started as a freshman, had a really good year. COVID was a dumpster fire, and everything at Arizona State followed. So, I don't know if y'all followed much, but if you have the time and you want to look into what's happened there at Arizona State with Herm and his staff and their violations and just everything that's happened there. Bro, when Jaden Daniels transferred, have y'all seen the video? When Jaden Daniels announced he was transferring, his teammates went and trashed his locker. Bro, it was a bad, toxic culture at Arizona State. Still is, but anyway. And interestingly enough, the one videoing them trashing the locker was Trevez Moore, who left LSU for Arizona State. Anyway. Point with Daniels is he could have another year. I don't think he'll use it. I think after this year, he is going to the NFL regardless after this year. So, and Brendan, obviously, it's his last season. So after this year, I think you are losing both of those guys in your quarterback room. So what will be really interesting is, let's say Daniels wins the job. Does Nussmeier hang around for a third year next year? That's kind of interesting. Brett, Matt, listening to you read off Daniels' stats from ASU last year made me think if he can do some great things this year with the talent and the coaching around him. The biggest difference, Brett, is he'll have receivers. The number 1 receiver at Arizona State last year was Ricky Pearsall, who transferred to Florida right now. And then the number 2 pass catcher last year was their running back. When he was a freshman, had Brandon Ayuk. He was awesome. He threw for nearly 3,000 yards, 17 touchdowns, 2 picks. It's amazing what having good receivers will do. Well, think about it with any of these quarterbacks. Having, if it's Daniels, Brennan, Nuss, whoever, having Booty, having Besh, Neighbors, Jeray Jenkins, Kyron Lacey. you're, I mean, you were just better as a quarterback throwing the ball to all those guys. Cameron, you can have Phil Steele in the season. Yep, every Friday, Phil Steele. Looking forward to it again. I think it says more about his teammates than him that trashes the locker. Exactly. Ryan Rogers spent Friday afternoon listening to Ryan note about back to school. Also, you should wear Jordans again. I haven't worn Jordans in forever. Jeremiah Hartle, if Brennan has a good season, if he started, could be drafted or a UDFA. Yeah. I just don't. Brennan's not. He's not going to win the LSU job. That's the reality of the situation, though. Let's see. Patrick Kaysen, what's up? Craig Straub, Brian Arsenault, Mark K. Stevenson, Latuso. Yet got to me within 48 hours. Talking about Hudco. Thank you, Mark K. Stevenson, Latuso, for giving us a call. Appreciate that. Craig Dugas would love to know what interesting news you have regarding whiskey. Okay, you ready? No, we're not doing that. Ask E-Rock. We're about to wrap this thing up. I just want to know if you know. All right, Erica's here.
Yeah, Drew knows them all. I know them all because of Drew.
The Alabama.
Crimson Tide.
The Auburn.
Tigers. Drew, I know this. Like
the Arkansas.
It's not gonna be funny. Razorbacks.
The Florida State.
Gator. Oh wait, something else. I was a little quick on the answer there.
The Georgia Tech.
They're not in the SEC.
I know. I'm giving you.
Well,
other
that's
ones
not fair. Because I only know the SEC.
Well, I'm curious what other ones you would know. The Oregon.
Ducks.
The USC.
They're red. USC meaning
Southern Cal. In LA.
they're not red. They're blue.
No, they're red. You're talking about UCLA.
Yeah.
That's where we went last year.
I have no idea.
Who's UCLA?
They wear baby blue. That's all.
The Bruins. Texas.
Longhorns.
Penn State.
I don't know if they're not in the SEC. Like I have no idea.
Ohio State.
Buckeyes.
Michigan.
I don't know. This is not funny. I don't want to.
Notre Dame.
Irish.
See? But what this proves, though, is schools that have a brand. Like when someone who doesn't know any of this, like obviously some major brands, like she doesn't know Penn State, doesn't know Michigan, but she knows Ohio State and Notre Dame.
Well, because we play Ohio State in the national championship game.
Doesn't matter.
So that's why I know who they are.
You still know the brand, though. You still know them. You knew Texas.
That's because we play them.
So?
It's not because, I don't know.
LSU played Penn State in the bowl game.
Okay.
Louisville.
No idea.
LSU played them in the bowl games 5 years ago or so.
Well, we played Ohio State for the national championship.
So
that's a bigger
we played them.
So I paid attention more.
Played them.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
TV looks terrible.
Oh.
Why do you have, why is it like that?
That was the one we had forever.
But something happened to
No,
it.
this is how it always was.
No.
Erica,
Matt.
yes.
No.
I am 100% telling you because every time I would do a screen grab or like shoot the TV, it would always be blue.
Let me turn the light off real quick. No.
Erica, that is how the TV was in the den. 1 bajillion. I'm going to show you screenshots I took and you're going to see. Vinay Patel, always have to get our Saturday Game Coin update. Had a full Game Coin board call yesterday. Went exceptionally well, and we actually got to see. Our CTO, it was via Zoom, shared the screen and went through the process of minting an NFT. Y'all, it is so cool. This will be, as best as I know, the first app where you'll be able to mint an NFT on your phone. Like you obviously can go to like OpenSea on your phone and do it, like if you through a browser. But we're talking about like in the App Store, pull it up, boom, 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 and then like 2 minutes you can mint an NFT affordably. Like it's anyway. So cool. Just to see the functionality of clicking and seeing it work, like everything. So the fan token portion still coming along. There's a couple of other things through the punch list they're going through. But God, it's just so exciting, man. So exciting to see it work. To see it, right? This platform we've been talking about for so long. A lot of good stuff, man. A lot of good stuff coming. Like we're almost there. Almost there. All right, almost done, y'all. Jonathan O'Neill, Chewy Gutierrez, are you doing whiskey and wine for Florida State? Yes, from Don Juan. They've told us they will stay open. Tony Williams, good morning. Craig Duga, if you aren't fond of doing pregame, but I do miss the pilot of Scone and Tea. Used to be the entertainment of my Saturdays. Oh, yes. That's actually true. That's, yeah. Let me do that. Patrick McKenzie. Matt, do you think LSU will wait until game day to announce the starting quarterback? I do not, because we just have precedent of Brian Kelly a year ago. When he was at Notre Dame, he announced Jack Cohn from Wisconsin I looked it up, on August the 14th. So basically the second week of camp, which would be next week. John Troxler, good morning. Do we see the quarterback the Saints picked up? Yeah, you know that quarterback is KJ Costello. It's the dude from Mississippi State who torched LSU in Tiger Stadium for 600 yards. I think he'll probably get in late. Let's see. Tony Williams. If Daniels wins the job, Brennan will transfer. We'll see. I mean, he certainly could. Remember, he's engaged now, and part of the reason he stayed as long as he did was he was in very committed relationship, which is now going to be his wife. Chris Keller, do we see the quarterback Saints? Oh, sorry, you read that one. Ryan Dixon, how different will the offense be under the three quarterbacks? Concerned this will limit the offensive game plan. Yeah, I don't think so, Ryan. I think Daniels and Nuss are similar enough stylistically that it would be what they want to do. Brennan would kind of be the one that would be different. So the other two, I think, would have to struggle, or he would have to be just sensational. Chris Keller, the Red Sox are like 10 games below 500. Why do you even care? That's so sad. Tiffany Brando Cruz, good morning. Ready for some football. Hope you and the family are doing great, Tiff. Please give everyone my best regards. What is this guy doing on YouTube? All right. We're going to get him out of there. Any more? Ooh. Jeremiah Hart, will we see Scone Stradamus? Probably not. Not for a preseason game. Got my fingers crossed. All right, I think we're just about done. Merrick, she's giving you permission to buy a new TV for the office. I don't need permission for that, dog. But I ain't buying a new TV. It's fine. It serves its purpose in here. All right, y'all. I think we are done. Y'all have an awesome day. Thanks so much for watching. Trey Fisher, what's good? Good morning, good morning, good morning. Chance Babin, I've done that before. All the Division I mascots that don't end in an S. What, it's like 13, I think. It's like Alabama Crimson Tide, Tulane Green Wave, Notre Dame Fighting Irish, the Tulsa Golden Hurricane, the Stanford Cardinal. I'm not doing it right now, but anyway, yeah, I think it's like 12 or 13. Anyway, all right, y'all have an awesome day as always. Thanks so much for watching. Remember, shout out to Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. You need an orthopedist. Remember, after hours clinic is open today and all throughout the weekend. And Hudco Roofing, pinned in the comments there. We would love to give you a free, no obligation roofing inspection. Y'all have an awesome day. Peace.